In this installment, we're going to be going over AFC West in-division matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Monday Night Football DraftKings Showdown slate between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. But before I deep dive into that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetChefD. Don't forget about the TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon if you want more DFS, betting, and fantasy football advice. All of those links will be provided down below. First thing we're going to be looking at before we deep dive into this will be the injury report for this game with the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Raiders are going to be first on this injury report right now. We have Denzel Perryman and Hunter Renfrow, who have been both in concussion protocol. We're again full participants in Saturday's practice, so that's a positive. Jayon Brown is going to be the main guy, starting linebacker, going to be out for the Las Vegas Raiders. Foster Moreau, backup tight end. He might be trending towards playing. He got in a limited practice on Saturday. That's a positive sign. Everyone else is fine. Perryman, Hunter Renfrow, safety teamer is looking better now. Darren Waller is fine, and we got a questionable tag on Sam Webb that is a cornerback for the Raiders. So nothing major there besides Jayon Brown. And on the Kansas City Chiefs side, they're missing Harrison Butker, their kicker, so they're going to be starting yet again week 2 in a row with a backup kicker. So that could come in to be a factor maybe later in the game. That is going to be pretty crucial in the game environment itself. All right, Andy Reid's might have to be more creative. They might go forward on 2-point conversions or just fourth downs in general if they do not trust their kicker. So Trey Smith, guard, is questionable. He's trending towards playing. Mike Dana is trending towards playing. Juju, this one can factor in for our lineup builds here because he popped up Saturday with unlimited practice. That is not a good sign when you have a full practice, and then right before the game, the practice before the game, you pop up with an injury. Okay, so he has a quadriceps issue. That's going to be a key factor to pay attention to news later on Monday. We're going to get a full diagnosis on Juju Smith-Schuster. So right now, we got to play both sides of this while we're breaking down the game. Now, let's look at the captain positions. This should be a high-scoring affair, okay? In previous 4 matchups that these two teams have played each other on this past 2 years, the total points have been 57, 55, 66, and 72. So this can be a huge game environment here. A lot of people are trending towards that way, so they can flip the script. So we will see if this becomes more of a defensive battle, struggles, maybe Juju's out, and they have to get things acclimated with using more of Sky Moore and more Justin Fortson and other wide receivers in this offense. And for the Raiders, we'll see if they're going to hunker down because this is a must-win game here. They just finally got to win their first win of the season. They do not want to go back to a losing format. And this is also a look-ahead spot for the Kansas City Chiefs. The game after this, the Kansas City Chiefs will be facing the Buffalo Bills. So I'm not sure if we're going to see 100% Kansas City Chiefs team in this one because they're going to be geared up for next week. All right, Buffalo Bills are going to be coming for the Kansas City Chiefs next week. This is a clear classic. If you're a sharp bettor or you understand how this goes, this is a look ahead spot. So the captains we're going to look at with all factors in is going to be Patrick Mahomes. So we're going to go with the mainstay guys at captain, all right, in this game environment, which should be and breed a lot of points. All of Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, they both smashed in this in particular game. So we're going to have to find value somewhere, but all these guys I will speak about being the captains in your lineup builds. All right, Patrick Mahomes should be a solid guy to lean on. More, I would say more of a flex because I want a pass catcher. Okay, for Patrick Mahomes to take full advantage of this game environment, for him to be in that captain spot, he would need to dominate with the touchdowns, as you can see, similar to what he did in week 1 against Arizona, where he had 5 touchdowns. If he's spreading the ball around like that, then that's going to lead to Patrick Mahomes being a great top tier captain. Okay, if he focuses on one dude, then you want that position player in the captain spot. He's going to have a bigger multiplier in that captain spot more than Patrick Mahomes, but you still need Patrick Mahomes in your lineups as a flex. So I like Patrick Mahomes there. Davante Adams is in a prime spot. I don't think there's a corner out there, especially on the Kansas City Chiefs, that can stop or hold him. He had a very solid performance against Denver, 9 for 32 and 101. That was against great defense in Patrick Surtain. I think Davante Adams gets back to the end zone, which we saw in the first 3 weeks where he had a touchdown in each of one of those games. So I'm loving Davante Adams, the connection with Derek Carr. Great talent here on both sides of the ball. So we love Patrick Mahomes. We love Davante Adams. The next guy we're going to talk about is Travis Kelce, all right? All across the board, when I'm looking at fantasy points allowed, to QB, to running back, to wide receiver, and tight end, both of these defenses are bottom 10 in the league. This is why we have to go through all these top tier guys. And this one here is going to be a real puzzle to figure out which one of these stars will be the number one stud of Monday Night Football. Travis Kelce comes in 9 of 10, 92 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a touchdown. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is bottom 5 in the league against opposing tight ends as well. This is another great matchup for Travis Kelce. So I'm liking him there. We have Derek Carr. Derek Carr, I would move him more to a flex play. I think he is serviceable, but I don't expect him to have the upside of a Patrick Mahomes, of a Davante Adams, of a Travis Kelce, or even a Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs will be boosted up in this conversation as captain because this man, despite the fact what we thought was going on in Las Vegas during this preseason, this man is the number one running back, and he showed it against Denver defense that has been stout. And he had 28 rushing attempts, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions, 6 targets, 31 yards. He put up a total performance, all right? Nice breakout game for him. They're going to need to utilize Josh Jacobs and his talent in this game if they want to simmer down the Kansas City Chiefs offense. This is the way that they don't want a shootout, because the last 4 games have not gone well for the Raiders. If the Raiders are going to have to win this game, if they see themselves winning this game, they're going to have to play some defense, keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes, and play some ball control. So Josh Jacobs is going to be a key factor. I like him in this game setup. He should have a solid matchup going up against the Kansas City Chiefs run defense, who struggles as well. We're going to points allowed to running backs, and we're going to flip this around to the bottom of the list. We have the Kansas City Chiefs right there, 25th in the league right here. That is a poor ranking to fantasy points allowed to running back. So Josh Jacobs is another stud we can go with, just to go get a little bit more creative, think a little bit different, because a lot of people are just going to jam in all their favorite opposing and on the same team of players to have, and then it's not 100% guaranteed it's going to go that way, all right? That's why I'm saying they're going to look at the past performances, they're going to look at all the big totals, and things can be different in this type of matchup, okay? We have a very hungry Las Vegas Raiders team here. So Josh Jacobs, I like. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I might bump him down to a flex play, but he's been getting super lucky, man. He's been getting super lucky in scenarios in the red zone, and he's been utilized as a pass catcher. But the main running back in this offense is Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. So they're splitting the work 3 ways, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire is getting high usage in the red zone. So that's why he's been cashing in week after week with touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns in week 4. He had a touchdown in week 3 as well. He had 2 touchdowns in week 1. So this is the reason why he's putting up such solid fantasy performances, because he's getting in the end zone. All right. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire is someone we have to mention as well. All right. Darren Waller is one more captain that we can focus on. We saw what actually, no. Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't really have a tight end to rely on, but the Kansas City Chiefs fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends. If we go to this stat right here, I believe that they're bottom in the league as well. If we flip that around, yes, they are 27th in the league, almost giving up a touchdown per game. So this is going to lean towards their big body tight end and Darren Waller, who's been getting consistent usage, 5 targets, 8 targets, and 6 targets in the first 4 weeks. Hasn't had a real breakout game. His best performance was against Arizona. So this could be a spot where a lot of attention is on Davante Adams. Hunter Renfrow is coming back, so that's going to be a little more of a crowded scene. Darren Waller, when they get in the red zone, he's someone that they can look to for Derek Carr to get the ball, to someone that is going to win in their one-on-one matchup. Darren Waller is at a nice price at $7,200, someone you can consider at your captain. All right, so let's clear out these guys and let's go on to the flex plays. And I think this here is going to be our bread and butter. I think we can find a flex play here that can become a captain, and we can save some salary because we want to pay up for all these expensive guys. We're talking about Mahomes, Adams, Kelsey, Jacobs, Waller, all this type of talent. We need to find value. So some of the first guys that we're going to look at in the flex, Juju Smith-Schuster. If he plays, he becomes a flex option. He hasn't been seeing double-digit fantasy targets, but he's been seeing a solid amount where
the new 2023
he is now a factor of being the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. All right, not the number 1 option. Okay, number 1 option obviously is Travis Kelsey. The number 1 wide receiver right now is Juju Smith-Schuster, but he's just being utilized as a slot wide receiver pretty much. A lot of crossing patterns for Juju Smith-Schuster. He's not the guy that's going to stretch the field. He needs to get open and break a tackle for him to have an exceptional game. Okay, so that's the problem with Juju Smith-Schuster. Other than that, we're waiting on news for him. So if he is cleared, then we're going to play him. If not, then we got to find more value. So let's continue to go down below these backup quarterbacks, and we got Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is coming back. He's fine. He's cleared. He's healthy. 10 targets we saw in his last game in week 2. This is going to be a guy, a sight for sore eyes for the Raiders. Someone reliable, but he's been having a fumble problem so far this year. Yet to have a touchdown. But the connection between Carr and Hunter Renfrow, we saw it last year, and they're going to need that against Kansas City just to move the chains before we get to the big guys like Davante Adams and Darren Waller. The guy that's going to be in between is going to be Hunter Renfrow. He has some upside in this game. He's coming back. He's healthy, and I think we should definitely utilize him. All right, another sneaky play will be Marquez Valdez-Scantling, someone that can definitely stretch the field. This is going to be a high-scoring affair. We can probably see finally a big MVS game. He has yet to score a touchdown in the season as well. So this is a perfect environment that we might see MVS take one to the house. All right, he can definitely separate yourselves from everyone else. The ownership in this slate should be widespread because of the amount of options that there is on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be really creative to see which one of these guys pops off. So MVS is someone that has that ability, like a Deshaun Jackson, one hitter guy that's going to go deep, get you in the end zone, and he can break a slate. So MVS is definitely someone we can consider. Mac Hollins, he's been super consistent. He's come out of nowhere because a lot of guys, we thought it was just going to be a funnel of 3 targets, but Mac Hollins has showed up in week 2 and week 3 as a factor in the wide receiver ring. So he has the eye of Derek Carr right now. Maybe it just tones down a little bit with Hunter Renfrow. That is going to be back in the fray. But week 2, Hunter Renfrow was playing, and he had 5 for 66 with 8 targets. So whoever's getting open, Derek Carr is finding that guy, and it happens to be Matt Collins. So there's another sneaky play that we have right here. If you don't trust Hunter Renfrow coming back in this first game, you can lean more on Matt Collins. He's had more consistency, like I said, so far this season with Derek Carr. Now, some other options at flex. Isaiah Pacheco. We saw a big bump in usage, and this was against Tampa Bay's rush defense, which is top 5 in the league. 11 attempts, 63 yards. He looked great. He looked powerful. I like the urgency that he had. He had vision as well. Isaiah Pacheco is a man on a mission. This rookie running back from Rutgers is coming for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If Clyde Edwards-Helaire messes up, even just an inkling, Isaiah Pacheco can be someone that's going to take over the reins and has some potential as he continues to grow in this offense, all right? So we'll see what happens. He's someone to mention because of the bump in usage that we saw in that Tampa Bay game. That was a positive sign. So he's going to be one of the lesser guys in the flex position that I do like for this particular matchup, all right? Let's continue on. Let's clear this out. I'm going to go a little bit below. I saw one more guy before I go below kickers and defenses. Mecole Hardman. This is another guy that can take the top off a defense. We saw it in week 1. He had a touchdown. He's the third out of these 3 wide receivers in usage. So it's going to go Juju, it's going to go MVS, and then it's going to go Mecole Hardman. But if Juju's out, then there's going to be more of a focus on Mecole Hardman and MVS. Mecole is going to be more intermediate. MVS stays the deep guy. So there's going to be definitely someone we can focus on if Juju is out. So I'm hoping that he's out. Then this opens up a broader stroke here of talent. So Mecole Hardman is someone that we can consider as a flex. For defenses and kickers, how I want to go with this. Let's see if they used Wright the week prior. And they did in week 4 against Tampa Bay. This was a blowout pretty much. And they utilized Matthew Wright. So I can see a path for him if this is not that much of a high scoring affair and comes just a little more defensive in this in-division matchup between the Raiders and Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it could happen. So Matthew Wright, I'm fine with him as a kicker, replacing Harrison Butker. Daniel Carlson is someone that's always going to get you double-digit fantasy points, as you can see right here. This Raiders team has been struggling to put the ball in the end zone just a little bit, and as you can see, that has benefited Daniel Carlson. 3 games in a row with double-digit fantasy points. Okay, that's what you're going to need if you want to play a kicker in your lineups, all right? So if we're going with defenses, I think I want to stay with both of these defenses, all right? I want to stay away from the Chiefs, and I want to stay away from the Raiders because the explosiveness is too dangerous to go that route, but it can be an edge. And if I did have to choose one, I believe I would choose the Raiders out of nowhere. Hey, I'm telling you, I would choose the Raiders. I think the pass rush can get and create some havoc for Patrick Mahomes, all right? So if I had to choose one, it would be the Raiders, but other than that, I'm staying away from that. I like the kickers on both sides, so that's why we got Carlson and Wright in there, because I think this environment is going to be beneficial to points, all right? Some other guys we can look at before we head out. We got Jerry McKinnon. This is the 3rd running back. I do want to mention him. He is getting some carries, but with the emergence of Isaiah Pacheco, I think we can stay away from him. But before early in the season, he was getting some carries in the red zone. But now we have Pacheco in the fray now, and maybe they get a little bit toned down with Jerick McKinnon. So Sky Moore is the next guy, rookie wide receiver that has some upside. He's been getting increased targets and usage just a little bit, as we saw against Tampa Bay. Maybe it was because of the blowout was the reason why we saw Sky Moore get 4 targets. So we definitely have to monitor that. Maybe we can use him in future lineup builds. Or obviously, we'll see Kansas City yet again. So I wouldn't go with him as a flex play Maybe sprinkle him in just a tiny bit, but definitely watch Sky Moore in his usage, okay? Definitely want to say something about him. Other than that, we have Zamir White, we have Brandon Bolden. I want to stay away from these guys. Josh Jacobs is the #1 running back. And if we're getting really, really deep, we have some tight ends that the Kansas City Chiefs do use. And he already has 2 touchdowns this year. That is Jody Fortson, the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the third tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, but he has a little connection with Patrick Mahomes in red zone situations. He has a touchdown in week 4, and he has a touchdown in week 1. Who's to say that it doesn't happen yet again? So someone that I'm seeing that they're using in certain specific packages. We got Jody Fortson at this nice price. I think we can go with him. If you really want to find a punt play, then that's the cheapest. I would go with Jody Fortson. And let's key in on the main guys that we're going to have in our slate in each and every one of our lineups. I think we can focus on Devonta Adams and Travis Kelce. These are my 2 must-haves in each and every lineup. I think they're going to be the focal points. It's going to be hard to stop these guys. Obviously, let's see if we can find some value, cheaper down low, that's going to be sneaky as well to pair with them, because we just can't go with all the high-priced guys. So I think Hunter Renfrow comes back into the fold here for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he is a key component in some lineup builds. And if I had to choose one more Kansas City Chiefs, I would go with MVS. I think MVS finally breaks out. I think he has his big game that they've been waiting for, especially if Juju is out. This is going to be a key factor, right? So we're going to focus in on these guys. I think you should utilize these 4 in the majority of your lineups. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter and message us at JetsD, and I will be back with another video very soon. All right, peace out, guys.